for this book with your little one, and you as the educator, the primary educator of your child, get stuck, you're able to scan the code and it'll take you to a documentary film. Right now, y'all should be clapping. Be like, damn, bro, Griff, that's dope. I like that. Listen, the information and the tools are out there for us to use. Why not use them? You understand? In a minute, all this stuff gonna be digital. Sure. Cashless society. You see what the position that Donald Trump was putting Elon Musk and the rest of these characters in, right? All right, so you kind of get used to the idea. I know some of y'all are still fighting it. Y'all like, I don't want to use AI. I'm like, all right. So, see if y'all can scan that real quick from where y'all sitting. Now, keep in mind, some of the QR codes, they get outdated. The story takes place in the hearts and minds of the children on a journey from the African roots to hip-hop, which is high infinite power healing our people, to its flowering in the Bronx. All right? Tell me what came up.
The origins of music. It's not working. The origins of music.
Origins of music, yeah. You got Android?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the Michelle Obama phone? The whole idea of it coming, the whole idea of hip hop, starting out as we discussed in this book, hidden in the genetical code of black people. That's its origin. I don't care who else came along and saw it and tried to put their name on it, tagged the wall or danced or whatever you did. That's not the origin of it. The origin of it is in here. You understand what I'm saying? So let's understand what we're dealing with. Listen, we communicated with one another without even talking at one time. And then when we actually started talking and writing, we etched it into the walls of the pyramid and other places. You follow what I'm saying? Then when we did decide to communicate, we not only sung, all right, we had the talking drum. The drum talked for us. It spoke for us to reach people at short distances with the short drum, and then we did bigger drums and reach people over far distances. We communicated with animals. I know some of y'all looking at me like I'm crazy already. We communicated with the netters. We made it rain.
Check.
Rain dance.
Thank you. We communicated with plants. Plants talked back to us to tell us, we told it what's wrong with us. It talked back to us to tell us what you need to put together to heal certain things. All right? So when they started talking about the origin of hip hop, man, I said, y'all need to get off that second, third grade level of this thing and elevate your consciousness so we can have a real conversation.
Teach.
Talk about the origin of it now. You follow what I'm saying? Okay. So I put characters that look like the stories that came from these griots. All right? The energy that was coming from the ones that sit and told the stories. I think it was my brothers, Native American brothers that I'm in touch with from the Lakota tribe, said that the paper became their enemy. And I was perplexed, asking questions, and I'm like, why is that? They said, because Griff, once we put the information in the book on paper, we took it and we put it on the shelf and we never participated and interacted with it. It didn't become part of our daily ritual because we already knew it was safeguarded in the book. But when they started burning the books, then we lost everything. This is why in Islam, you're made to recite the Quran. You have to know it by heart. You understand what I'm saying?
Check.
We lost that oral tradition is what I'm trying to say. Them stories that we used to tell our children's children. I remember sitting on my grandfather's lap and getting those lessons. You follow what? We don't do that no more. We don't tell them stories. You know, we tell them with one another at the barbershop. Man, you had a nice Saturday, man. I hooked up with this chicken, yada, yada. You go through the whole damn story, what you was wearing, where you went to eat, the whole bit, right or wrong. But we don't tell these stories to our children in a way that they could use those as lessons. All right? So once upon a time, in a vibrant land of Africa, we spoke 1,000 different dialects on the African continent. It's just not one language for Africa. Someone says, man, you look African. Well, what part of African do I look like? Like where? We look like some of everybody. Everybody look like some of us, pardon me. We 150,000 shades of midnight coming out of Africa. You can see everybody in us. Look around this room. Look at one another. You understand what I'm saying? So this whole idea of birthing hip hop, talking through the talking drum. All right, these ancient beats would one day inspire a whole generation, a whole new kind of music. They were tribal beats. Now I need the producers in the house, like a guy named Ernie. Is he still here? Yeah. Okay. You using the drum machine, but those beats per minute, all right, is in sync with the natural pulsation of the heartbeat. The heart beats at what rate? Anybody know? I know what you think. You think it's 76, 78. So what you think? That? Right there?
That sounds about right.
We're about 18?
I was thinking, I'm just saying. All they did was they patterned the drum machine after that. You follow what I'm saying? So the synthesizers and the rest of that stuff was patterned up after the natural. Can you rescue? Ernie beat you to the punch. Ernie said, I can get that. Hold on for a second, man. He rode his bike over here. No, that's my man, D-Boy. I'm just talking about producers, and the producer walked in the door. You understand what I'm saying?
What's going on, brother?
Put that energy out there.
Thank you, right?
You catch this cold. Yeah, you good, brother.
Between what?
Between 60 and 100 beats per minute.
Between 60 and 100? I think they go a little bit more than 100. Because I'm programming stuff now at 140. It's just a rapid pace. Dance, EDM, electronic dance music, and some other music at 160 now. This should give you cardiac arrest. You know what I'm saying? But I understand you have a heart rate though. If your heart rate is way above 100, then you got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? But they studied the human body in order to come up with the computer. They studied the human body in order to come up with the drum machine and all the other musical instruments that they patterned after the instruments that they stole from us. Because we weren't stupid, we knew what we were doing. We knew 2 hands on the drum was a certain sound. You press part of the other drum, hit the other side of it, it's a certain sound. Turn it upside down or sideways and hit the wood and do something else. Matter of fact, the drums that we made were made of a certain kind of wood from a certain kind of tree. As a matter of fact, deeper than that, that was part of your rites of passage. Follow what I'm saying? A certain animal grew up with you that you was going to sacrifice in a minute, right? And a tree that your mama's mama sat under was your tree. That's the tree you would take that wood from to build your drum because it's part of your rites of passage. That's the animal that you would sacrifice and use the skin to wrap the drum. Right, that was your drum. This is why in any African tradition, you can't touch another man's drum. That's like touching somebody's wife. Y'all don't know nothing about that. Y'all look at me like that. No, I'm serious. Anyway, hip hop, high infinite power, healing our people. All right? No one understands when we constructed hip hop, there was rules and regulations. You just could not come in the house of hip hop and do what you want to do. Matter of fact, can anybody come in your house and do what they want to do? Go anywhere they want to go? Go in the bedroom, look under the bed, under the mattress, look through the drawers. You can't do none of that, right or wrong. Well, it's the same way we set up hip hop. Come in and respect the architects. There's some rules, all right, that's going to govern this thing. All right? So we establish certain things that we put in place. All right? So the 5 elements of hip hop is what I want to talk about. Because after today, if you don't know, what?
Now you know.
Now you know. So give me the four elements of hip hop. I need 4. Give me one from. You got one. Which one? Graffiti is 1. DJ.
MCing.
Breaking is 3.
And MCing.
MCing is 4. What's the 5th one? Knowledge itself. You got to have the 5th one in order to synthesize the other 4. The other 4 ain't gonna work unless you have knowledge yourself. But what happened? That were the architects of hip hop. They didn't tap into and sit at the feet of them particular elders to get that information. So other people started coming in and started claiming hip hop. Hip hop started in Puerto Rico. Hip hop started there. So then when we look into the history of the Puerto Ricans in the history books, we don't find hip hop. We don't find hip hop in Cuba and none of them other aspects of drumming and other stuff we find it, but not hip hop. You go into our history, you'll find it. All right? Name me some DJs out of Brooklyn. Anybody know any DJs out of Brooklyn? Scratch? Way before Scratch, though.
Cool Herc.
Cool Herc?
Boogie down. He the boogie down.
Nope, that's the Bronx. You see, we don't know the history. Brooklyn kicked it off way before the Bronx kicked it off.
Teach.
Look up DJ Flowers. Disco Twins. You remember the days of Centennial Park when the goddamn lights went out, the blackout in 76 in New York? Who was there? None of y'all was there? But I got there. Where were you born? You were 3 years old. Yeah, I'm telling on myself. I was. Yeah. Anyway,
Our frequency was there, though. Our frequency was there.
You're right.
Oh, that was that time you said, I'll be right back.
But anyway, can you imagine a blackout in New York? Excuse my language, man, but shit got stolen. For real, I'm dead serious, man. Everybody was stealing, man. Everybody, like, you talking about people with booming sound systems? It was ridiculous, man. The lights went out in New York for 3 days. Oh, man, bro. Anyway, we'll talk about it. Anyway, so Brooklyn prided itself on who could have the biggest and the best system. Richard Long, you might want to remember his name. He built coffins. Yeah, where you could just wheel the coffin in, take the lid off of it, plug up, and start DJing. They had Berthas. You ever heard of Berthas? No one? That's me. I'm dating myself again. Nah. Well, anyway, the Berthas was the big cabinet speakers that you could walk in. So you talk about hearing the music from they was rocking in Brooklyn and we heard it on Long Island. No, I'm dead serious. So when the music started, it was a thing in New York to play outside in the park. This was way before hip hop in the Bronx. Way before people were rapping. Remember Hank Span? Nobody know Hank Span? No, not WWRL. I'm going back too far. I'm dating myself again. Okay, no problem. Well, they was rapping on the radio way before the Bronx. Wait, y'all know Dolomite, right?
Yeah.
Check. Rudy
Okay,
Ray.
thank you. Damn. All right, I'm tapping into something now.
Signified monkey.
The signified monkey, way down in the jungle deep. Give me the next line. The badass lion stepped on the signified monkey. The lion said, look, monkey's thing. Come on, give me the line, bro. Okay, anyway. That's what we was doing in Brooklyn. Over music. On the radio. Already DJing. So when hip hop claimed it started in the Bronx, it was disco songs that they were using to make hip hop songs. Then they moved and graduated to funk songs, and then they started snatching the little breaks out of songs to make. But clubs in the Bronx and Brooklyn was already doing it. So this false narrative that they came up with, it started in the Bronx, somebody came through with speakers, it stopped. It was already going down in Brooklyn. All right, not to mention Long Island and other places. Something magical is about to happen. We tapped into the ancestral realm. All right, we pulled that energy forward. All right. We gave birth to the elements. One of the main elements was DJing. All right. Way before Radio Shack, we took turntable number 1 with turntable number 2. The mixer was already born. Flash did not create the mixer. What Flash created was the slide, the fader, all right? The fader that he used to put on already existing parts of the mix. So yes, he went to Radio Shack, got the components, whatever, put the fader so you can go from turntable number 1 to turntable number 2. But we already had the up and down fader in the clubs already in Brooklyn, all right? And then when Herc came along and they started experimenting with just finding the beat, that gave birth to the B-boy, the break beat boy. You understand what I'm saying? Who only danced to the break. You understand what I'm saying? So what I did in that case, I'm gonna go back. See the cardboard under his feet? We went and found the cardboard, kicked the box open, laid it down with some duct tape in the street, All right, and we got down. They closed all of the musical classes in the schools.
Teach.
We said the hell with it. We'll take it to the street. We took garbage cans and turned them over and beat on the garbage cans. We already knew there was a steel drum, but that was in the Caribbean islands somewhere. We ain't know nothing, but we knew something about that because there were some brothers and sisters from the islands in Brooklyn and some other places. But we was in the street. You understand what I'm saying? We couldn't afford no expensive steel drums, so we took the garbage can over and started beating on them. When that didn't work, we just started beatboxing. You understand what I'm saying? And then when other companies got a hold of what we was doing, they made boom boxes. All right, them expensive ass D-size batteries. You still D-size, and they was expensive as hell. We needed about 12 of them too.
20.
And the boom box was about this big. So
Check.
brothers was carrying it like
JVC.
blowing their eardrums out. But when they put that joint down, turned it on, and stood the beat boy stands, it was on. Am I right or wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we got down. You understand what I'm saying? So they said when hip hop kicked off, they said it would only last for a few years. It's a fad, and it was some other thing. And then the brothers picked up the microphone. And all of those stories that we wanted to tell, or everything that was on our mind, whatever, we picked up the mic and we told those particular stories. All right? Which wasn't a thing for us. Now, with the break beats, tell me some of those artists or some of those songs that we used some early break beats that we was pulling from. Name some of them artists. Absolutely not. Nope. James Brown, man, the Godfather of Soul, man.
Most of them come from.
Thank you, right? Huh?
So the majority of them came from James.
Parliament.
Right? Parliament Funkadelic. Scorpio, absolutely not. Roberta Flack, that was somebody's mama, man. Nah. No. Dennis Coffey, Scorpio. Name some of them other songs. That we used to break to. Just Begun, Jimmy Castor Bunch. You understand what I'm saying? These are the songs that we used to break to. Now Jimmy Castor didn't go to the studio and say, I'm gonna make a break beat song. No, we found those records. We was watching something the other day, the two-steppers. The competitions they used to have in Chicago on two-stepping. Like, where do they find those songs at? Those songs have to find you. How do you know what song to two-step to? Did anybody know? Because I don't know. We knew what song to break, though, because when the break came on, it was on and popping, man. We knew when we were clap your hands, stomp your feet. What did we do? We moved in a circle. Did we not?
Yep.
Watch any break, any decent, not the chick from the Olympics. What's her name?
Don't even call.
Stop it.
We moved in a circle, man, because we had to create the spiral, which is a kinship to spirit. Spirit is the spiral. Your fingertip, if you look at it close enough, it spirals out. The center of your hair, the hair spirals out. Your blood spirals through the vein. Right, exactly. So the spiral spinning, we spun on our heads. The spinning, the spiral is a kinship to the spirit. We had to whip up the spirit first. Do you understand what I'm saying? And watch any decent break dancer, they spinning. All right? So anywhere we went during that particular, we had to let people know we were there. Of course, you know, we had the big backpacks and we stole whatever we needed to steal from Ace Hardware or whatever, and we tagged the train. You had to know what you was doing, because some of them places I see people was tagging, it was ridiculous. You understand what I'm saying? How you gonna tag on the bottom of a Delta flight or the plane? I saw somebody's tag, I'm looking up, I'm like, how do they do that? Some dude named Ernie that worked for Delta one day spraying shit. You understand what I'm saying? It's ugly. Anyway, we tagged our names. And then what happened? When the trains went out on those tracks like veins in the human body, everybody knew something was going on in the Bronx. Because we saw the trains that was tagged, all right? And we had to go back to where the baby was born, which was really Brooklyn, but we went up to the Bronx. I went through that era of graffiti, tagging. Then we had to get knowledge of self. We had to sit at the feet of the elders that knew the history of black music. All right? Sampling was an intricate part of what we did. We tapped into those advertising. God, give me a few minutes. So we had to tap into those ancestors' records that they were no longer with us, so we had to tap into that energy. All right? We were playing songs from people that we didn't even know existed, but we found those records. Now listen, there was an art. Now, Nia, I'm sure you can attest to this. Sometimes people come in the book, you say, how you doing? Welcome to my new bookstore. Can I help you with something? They say, no, I'm just kind of, and you let them go. Because they got to touch the books. The book has to call them. That's the way we was with the record. You just go in the record shop and you thumb through the crates. You had to dig in the crates. You follow what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then we developed this beautiful art, man, of taking records. Of course, you had to buy 2 of the same record.
Check.
All right? Take the needle and drop it. It was an art, man. I seen cats do it. Like, I think I saw Flash do it. Scratch used to do it. Take the needle and just drop it right on the spot where you need it. You understand what I'm saying? Which was a beautiful art, man. You had to know those records. I was one of them DJs, you had to study the grooves in the record, man. And you had your set list in your head. You didn't have it written down anywhere. It wasn't on nobody's computer.
Come on with it.
You had to know it and feel the people out. You understand what I'm saying? So sampling was a big part of it. Now I mentioned, we already went through the 5 elements. And name all them big companies that took advantage of something we created and we don't benefit from it today. Pioneer.
The Octopus.
Sony.
MCA.
The speaker people, the mixing people, the light people, all of them took advantage. Yeah, the people that made what do you call those things? The mixers,
Technique.
I mean, you name it. And then not only to mention cassette tapes, all right, and then not only that, and then from the analog, we were from analog, then we went to digital. Now everything is being digitized. So everybody made money off of black people from every step of the way. You want to sit down? I think there's a seat right there, good bro.
Oh, got you.
All right. Everybody made money off of us every step of the way. From the time we even thought about hip hop, they made money off of us. All right? We set hip hop on peace, love, unity, and having fun. There was nothing wrong with that. A new language of hip hop became the thing. There was nothing wrong with having fun. All right? As long as it didn't get out of control. But what hip hop did was curb some of the violence that was going on with the gangs in New York. All right? So when it came to birth, it gave people something to do in a way, for some of us, to make money. So then now it morphed into this other thing, where cats are making beats on their computers, excuse me, sir. You understand what I'm saying? They don't need the expensive equipment anymore. All right? And I think that's the era that we're living in today. You got damn Fruity Loops on your computer. You are a producer. It's on and popping. Because it don't take much. Now, it takes some being creative. Some of us use music as a platform to at least speak to what was going on in reference to our people as far as the struggle is concerned. The struggle for liberation. Not just we struggling. You understand what I'm saying? Whether it's a protest or we want to speak up and speak out about injustice. All right? Hip hop was the backdrop. Name some of the movies that they use hip hop as the backdrop. Do not say, what? You want to say do the right thing? Name some of the movies that use hip hop as the theme song.
Beat Street.
Breaking, Beat Street.
Boys in the Hood.
Crush Groove. Harry Belafonte was responsible for some of them early movies because he financed them, because he understood what was going on with young people. All right? Public Enemy, we hooked up with Spike Lee. We ended up doing the whole movie soundtrack for He Got Game, which was a beautiful thing. It was a beautiful experience. Learned a lot during that particular period. Yeah, there was a time where hip hop was just, they were trying to outlaw hip hop. So then what we did with Sugar Hill Gang and some other groups, they came and they reintroduced the whole idea of musical instruments back to hip hop. So then you started seeing a lot of groups going out with bands. Do me a favor, can y'all scan that and see where that would take you? Pick up your phones again. For the people that just got here, I was telling them about how I put QR codes on every page, just kind of using technology to help those that might use the book as a tool to educate their young people, that they can scan they can scan the QR code that's on every page, which I thought was ingenious. Not saying I'm a genius, I'm just saying that's ingenious.
We had an ingenious idea.
Thank you. We'll give it to the idea, because it ain't mine. It came through me. Right. What did you get? Anybody look it up?
Rappers Delight.
History of the hip hop band.
Your roots, history of the hip hop band. Thank you.
I got Rappers Delight.
That's good. It'll take you a couple of different places, two different QR codes. It's a beautiful thing. All right. We didn't forget about the wax stuff. All right, because the black. How you doing, sir? You all right? I see you. I'm good. You're looking younger, man. You all right, though?
I think it's the soap I'm using. That black soap.
I put the sister holding the carrot juice on this one simply because there was a certain diet that came along with. Who introduced the 40 ounce? Who introduced it? Run DMC? Run DMC introduced the first multinational kind of sneaker deal with Adidas, and they went international with hip hop, financed by Adidas. That was the first deal, and then they also introduced this whole idea of always being drunk with the damn 40 ounce. I think who made 40 ounce? Oh, that's saying English.
Oh, we were saying 100.
Man, you know that.
Small business. Oh yeah, I'm from Milwaukee.
Oh, okay, I got you. But anyway, I'm just saying, they made millions over what Run DMC was doing, just imagery alone. They didn't even offer them a deal.
They started giving out deals.
Exactly.
Because they was just anybody that had making noises that time. Even when my album came out, they tried to get me to do a beer with my I don't even drink.
Right.
They was like, yeah, but we don't give you this. And I was like,
Right.
But Griff, remember right after all that, St. Ives came up with.
St. Ives. Then everybody had a liquor deal. Yeah, I think I put it in my book, The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. 2 or 3 pages of everyone what they did. 50 Cent, all of them. And then ultimately, this is what landed Puffy in jail. The deal that he had with the liquor people.
Teach.
You understand what I'm saying?
Do you remember?
No, it's the other one. It's the green one. Huh?
Do you remember the brother Coach Powell?
Come on
Yeah,
now.
Coach Powell.
The
Yeah.
message
You
in the
got
bottle.
Coach Powell's
Yep.
book, right?
Scandal.
Coach Powell, 40 ounce scandal.
Message in the bottom.
Message in the bottle.
Wow.
yes.
Yes.
Message in the bottle,
Yes.
40 ounce
Yes.
scandal.
Y'all put the information right in this book, dealing with all the rappers that got the liquor deals. You understand what I'm saying? Thank you. All right, I'll be finished in 1 second. We open up for Q&A. Who is it? Little Kim, that they did a whole program at Syracuse University named after Little Kim. Whole curriculum. Little Kim, though. Little Kim.
Is that the name of the class? No, I think it's called Queen Bee.
Called Queen.
Which is even worse.
thank you.
Which is even worse.
Yeah, Coach Powell, good brother, man. We
yes.
go to lecture together.
Ashe.
The 40 ounce scandal. I mean, how they did us in, man, these liquor companies. And every liquor company after that did us in. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway.
It got so bad that DMC.
Oh, here we go.
It got so bad DMC put almost a rise of the level.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I ended it. I was talking about hip hop in the classroom now. Now they're giving out degrees. But Professor Griff can't go teach.
No, sir.
Come on. You mean to tell me you got hip hop now? How many professors y'all know in hip hop? They got a few now, but I'm talking about back in the day. There weren't too many.
No.
You
You banned by
So
them.
now they got professors
Yeah.
in schools teaching a curriculum based on people like Little Kim and other people. It's like, come on. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later on before I get angry up in here. Music classes are coming back around in the schools. But I just said, if you just put the musical instruments in there, what's that? When did you sneak in here, man? You all right?
Minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm sure people. Anyway, I'm just saying, if you put the instruments in the classroom and just let the kids go in and grab the instruments, they'll figure it out on their own, and most times they do. All right? Now we have to come behind them and kind of guide them, put them in a, put them in a class every now and then, give them a teacher, give them a few lessons, but nonetheless, just let them go. Whether it's an internship or whatever. All right? Clothing became a big part of the hip hop thing. whole brands were being created. I'm not only talking about FUBU. I'm talking about other brands were created that centered their whole thing around hip hop.
Yeah, Tommy Hill nigga.
Right, exactly. Purposely, who was that said they made the clothes? They put the large label on the medium clothes because hip hop heads was wearing their clothes baggy.
Teach.
All right, and then the other company came along that wanted to track the rappers, was putting a microchip in the labels so they could track them. They could track them so they could rob them. So you know the police had the robbery crews. You understand what I'm saying? They was creating the drama in the street in New York.
Yeah, the original drop squad.
Exactly.
Remember when they put the lights in the bottom of the shoes? All the hip hop people was walking around with them.
But there are other trends though. Remember in Atlanta, everybody was wearing white tees so they could identify you.
Right.
You know them cats had them beams, man. You understand what I'm saying? And who noticed the blue lights that they have up on every other corner now? On every main street. Project Blue Beam. I talked about this long time ago in my lectures that I used to give. They saw the cats hanging out on the corner doing their business. You understand what I'm saying? So they said rather than having police come through the hood, they just put a camera up. And they kept telling the cat, yeah, just keep on talking. You understand what I'm saying? Dry snitching. Anyway, blessed are those that struggle. Oppression is worse than the grave. It's better to live and die for a noble cause than to live and die.
And be a slave.
Saki sign up. Thank you all very much. You want to open up for Q&A? Yes, talk to me.
All right, 2 questions off the bat. I wanted to ask you.
Well, I'm not saying that I had the answer. Maybe somebody in here probably had the answer, but I'll try. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you as far as the frequency, as far as artists like myself, like what type of frequency would you suggest is best to be able to put out in addition with lyricism and MCs like myself to be able to best heal our people and our people? And also I wanted to ask.
Wait, let me answer the first one first because she's gonna help me with that. Okay, so now you know the standard tuning frequency is 440. Concert tuning pitch standard frequency is 440. That acts diametrically opposed to everything natural, especially how we move and how we flow. You understand what I'm saying? The frequency that we should be tuned at as far as the hertz are concerned is 432. But you can tune certain instruments and certain songs to the frequency that you like. Now you want to add on to that?
Only that really it's difficult to even hear the difference between 440 and 432. Like the natural ear doesn't really hear it, but it's still a vibration that's a whole talk that he's done many on the changing of that. But the lyrically, I think is in my opinion it's intent plus frequency that equals either healing or harm.
Right.
And so, but for me, the lyrical content and intent behind it is more important and impactful than whether it's tuned at 440 or 432.
Now, it also depends on your intent. If you go in the studio and the song is at 432 and you go in there spitting this madness over,
That's
not
saying
cool.
lyrically, and then your intention and the lyrics put on top of it is more impactful.
Right. All right, what was your second question?
I wanted to actually have you ever found this in your research, and I know Dr. Wesley talked about it. So the question I have for you, is off of something that he said with his interview with 19 Keys. I know we ever got a chance to look at that. But he said that like the original things that belong to us are buried underneath Saudi Arabia. He said that was actually the original land or like the original way of where the original from or something like that versus in Africa where Egypt is. And he said that Egypt was really more so our lower selves before we fell, and that was more so our higher versions.
Well, that question right there is way beyond my pay grade. But I can say this. Shaka Musa Barry Shango teaches us that you cannot go anywhere on the planet and not see the footprint of the black man and woman. So to go back 20,000 or 10,000, that's probably another subject for another time. And I did see that, as a matter of fact, when they had that conversation. I think sometimes when we enter into a conversation or pick up on someone else having a conversation, I think a lot of times what I do, I'll take from that conversation, do the research myself. If I can't answer that particular thing within inside myself, I don't go public with it. I study it until I get it. And I might not even go public with it then. I have to know it and understand it. And then what would it benefit me? Like, for example, in this setting, would that particular thing benefit me right now? Yes, I could, if I would have studied it, had the answer to your question. But my thing is, go dig up under the pyramids and find the natural, this, that, or the other. I have to make that applicable to the youngest person in this room, which is probably Ernie. No? How old are you?
He's trying to fix it.
Oh, damn, bro, for real?
Right here.
Damn, Ernie.
22.
You was 22? 22, yeah. I gotta make it applicable to him. If he walk out here scratching his head like, what you talking about, Griff? I haven't done my job.
But the common thing, Griff, is that this physical body we walk around in is Earth. So you're talking about the frequency. The frequency is way over the Earth. The Earth itself is the thing that we are basically dealing with. And we walk around with it every day. So we putting it in form. You know, you got different forms. You got, just give you an aspect. You got inform, conform, uniform, deform, reform, transform,
Come on now.
and proform.
That's right.
So you got to put the science of scripture into everything you do
Without
to make it common.
right.
Like I told Neil once, we are superior but not better. So now the mind got it.
Exactly. When I was coming into knowledge of self, when I first heard Elijah Muhammad say that that the black man and woman is God and goddesses, I had to wrestle with that. You understand what I'm saying? That was the thing that we had to, I had to wrestle with. And we were before Africa. So he never taught that we were Africans. He taught that we was gods. I got beat up for that a little bit later on. Seti and a few other people tried to beat up on me. I said, listen, Africa's a Johnny come lately kind of thing, and it's kind of, yeah, I'm African on my way to being God. Having a human experience called Griff. There's nothing wrong with being African, but you got to graduate sooner or later. Am I right or wrong?
So the step-by-step process.
Well, yeah, exactly. So Elijah Muhammad said that when we saw the white man coming on the planet, we hid everything. That's why they're finding hidden and lost cities and all this other stuff. We saw them coming in the sands of time. We looked forward, not looked back. We looked forward, saw them coming, and hid everything. That's like you know the police about to come to your house, or your greedy sister be coming over. True story. Can you imagine that you know they're coming, you gotta hide the food, man? Just with grocery shopping. Damn, she said she was coming over at 7, man. You like, but Elijah Muhammad said that we had to hide. We hid cities because we knew the nature of the devil, because that came out of us. We already saw them. We already saw them come. Any more questions?
Yeah, Griff, do you mind for the young brother here? Like the whole idea of the Middle East, like that's connected to Africa, the land that we now know as Africa. Like walking those lands, there is no separation. It was the Holy Land. That's the land that our people occupy. So the thing to know is that that's us. They just created a humanly formed line, right? A channel of water, but that's us. That's the biggest thing to know about what you asked, all right?
Right. So if you go back in time and you can look at, what they call Pangea, the earth,
Right.
one big landmass.
Absolutely.
I mean, because you can fit the Carolinas right into West Africa. For real.
You can see how like it's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Exactly.
You just slide right in there, slide right in there,
Right.
But then we were not there. We were not there at the time. That was hundreds of thousands of years before that began, with the tectonic plates shifting and so forth.
So listen, Nia said she didn't want me to leave here with any books. She has 6 of them, but I got a few more. Got yours? Well, she got 5 of them now.
She got 4 of them. She got 4.
Okay, she got 4 of them
Let me
now.
give one.
Okay, she got 3 of them. I have to give her a couple. But listen, I'm gonna sell this one. I'm not sure. But anyway, but she got copies of both books. But let me say this: we have to be able to take anything. I don't care if it's the deepest science. This is the issue that I think I told you I had with putting together symbology. The science is so deep. How do I take it, the understanding of the symbols, and explain it to a 3- and 4-year-old? That's difficult. But until you can do that, then what good is it?
Check.
Right.
Like, what good is it? You follow what I'm saying?
Check.
So
Content mastery.
Pardon me?
Content mastery.
Exactly. We have what's the reason why when we go to talk to a 4-year-old, we bend down and we talk to them, we gotta be on their level. You understand what I'm saying? That's the same thing we have to do with our material. All right? Be able to explain it. Now there's some deep concepts that we could probably talk about that we'll baffle ourselves. We have to end up leaving it taking an Excedrin or something. You understand what I'm saying? So why do if we get that deep, we should be able to explain that, to some of the young people that desperately need it. You understand what I'm saying? Like what you just explained to the brother. You understand what I'm saying? That could have been a piece of the puzzle that he'd been looking for. But if we couldn't explain it in a way that he understood it, then what good is it? Elijah Muhammad said that we got to go to the people speaking the people's language. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, sir.
Can you talk about the production and distribution of your content, that journey?
Books or music?
The books. The books.
Oh, I self-publish simply because I'm just a rare kind of unique kind of individual. None of them people weren't putting my stuff out. They weren't. I didn't even go to them to ask. I didn't seek for a publishing deal. I didn't even go that route because of my history and who I am. The brothers in prison told me that they would not allow my book in the prison.
Check.
Because I believe on page 53, I put some images of Nicki Minaj in there on some masculine stuff, walking around stage with a dildo. You understand? Having to explain that madness to our children. So because of images like that, they wouldn't let my book in the prison. He said if I went back to me formulating the book and took some pages out, I could print it again and send it back out. That's the only way that they'll let it happen in prison.
Whatever.
He says, nah, I'm good. So the brother still got it though. I'm just saying. Nobody's taping this, right? Don't. Yeah, I'm just saying.
It ain't going nowhere, Baba. It ain't going nowhere.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Can you kind of deal with?
Oh, let me hold up one second.
Sir.
I'm sorry. Shortchanged him. The process. I went to ChatGPT, created my own characters, just how I wanted the characters to look. You have to give them a look, or age, what you want them to wear, blah, 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 blah. This character is called Asante Peace. I just call her Asante, and she's always associated with the peace sign. You understand? She has some kinky curly hair that can connect to the cosmic forces, and of course, Blackfoot is modeled after myself with the Timberland boots, the hat with the black fist on it. Created my own characters, gave them a subscription, and it took me a few dollars, but then again, it took me a few months to actually come up with these consistent characters. It's better now because not only ChatGPT, they got AI is off the meat right now. You can probably come up with these characters in a couple of hours. But it took me a long time to come up with these characters. Then I had to double back and write the story. Then I had to lay the story out in Canva and put it on each page. Then I had to kind of go back and create the background. So it was a lot of work. I don't know, I'm thinking, Neil, we might have to bring the price up on this. Nah, but anyway, I had to go get the background. Then I had to go get the QR codes. You understand what I'm saying? Then you got to take all that and put it up into, I think I used KDP on Amazon to get it produced and shipped to me. It's a lot of work. It took me about maybe 6 months. That whole time I spent in Portland in the freezing cold, I managed to study it, understand it, and kind of get it together. So that's my process. And like I said, I didn't ask for a publishing company to put it out. I decided to do it myself and only work with independent black bookstores. Nubian Bookstore, Madhu Bookstore, other black bookstores.
Not too many of them left.
Not too many left. Nope. So
Before you answer his question, I just wanted to share this. So I publish books, but I also teach workshops on how to print, how to publish, where you don't necessarily have to go to Kindle, because you can actually do self-publishing without having to go to Amazon at all.
Teach.
So anytime somebody wants to know that stuff, just let me know, because I've done it. I can walk you through the process of how to get your ISBN numbers, how to make sure that you have enough so that boom, everything is yours. You ain't got to go to nobody else.
What's your name again?
Fun, Daryl.
Daryl?
Yeah.
Daryl, this is Soleil. This is Daryl.
We met the last time, but it's all good.
But you talk about that book?
Yeah.
You've been trying to get out for 5 years?
No, about 15 years.
I got you. It'll be done. It'll be done. It'll be done.
That's Daryl.
Yeah, we're gonna get that done.
Yeah,
big
can
home.
you quickly touch on, I heard you talking about music and frequencies. With James Brown and his music, he didn't do the folk, and people know the reggae music for 4/4/3.
Right.
He did the 1 and the 3. Can
Right.
you
Well, you know, James Brown was just pulling from the DNA code that's already in us.
Right. Yeah,
And
that's his music.
I think there's a few artists after him, Parliament, Funkadelic, George Clinton, some other people kept it on the 1. You understand what I'm saying? But James Brown, I don't know if y'all notice, sometimes you see James Brown, he got 2 drummers.
Yeah.
James Brown was doing some different stuff. They said James Brown used to listen to his shoes sliding across the floor and feeling, damn, James. And feeling the black. James Brown didn't write his lyrics. I was in the studio with Biggie one time, and I witnessed that. I was like, damn. No pen, no pad, just coming off the top of the dome. I'm like, I don't even know how y'all do that, man. I gotta have a typewriter, thesaurus, and you understand what I'm saying? But James Brown had that particular gift. But I think what James Brown was tapping into is the natural rhythm and the way we move with the netters. You understand what I'm saying? The way we're in harmony and in sync with the natural rotation of the planet and the other planets. You understand what I'm saying? James Brown did something different, man.
Yeah.
I got the feeling.
Right.
When he was, he used to go into the forest when he was a child.
Right.
And he used to actually talk to a particular beetle bug. And one of his first records was about the beetle bug. He used to talk.
Okay.
And so when he said nature.